Anyway, Daily Express now, benefits.
Well, at last, officials have admitted that there's £800 million overpaid in benefits, with apparently 10 welfare claimants sharing £1 million each. Now, they do admit that perhaps they're not going to get much of this overspending back. To me, it just shows that it's more of a comment on the government, really. Not only are their policies gone, but frankly, the practical issues of actually the mechanics of government are starting to fall apart. And really, it epitomises the way that this government's just got to go.
I like what the Polish Prime Minister said about our benefit system. They said to him, well, why is it that you have to be in work for 6 months before you can get benefits, and you only get them for 6 months afterwards? He said, why don't you have better benefits? He said, because we don't want to end up like Britain. And that's Poland, right? That is Poland. And when Poland says we don't want to end up like Britain, we know we're in trouble. And where is Cameron on these kinds of issues? And the reason he's not leading by 55 points, which Blair was, right? Blair was at 55 points. He's only 40 or 38, depending on whether you read the Sunday Mirror polls, right? The reason is because he doesn't say stuff that chimes with Middle England. He should raise his game.
Interesting. OK, well, lots more still ahead, including find out what is the clearest indicator of a man's age. Could you guess? Back in a moment. And Graham Davis, political presentation consultant. Welcome back to both of you.
Hi.
The Taliban, is this a buy-off? This is in The Independent, or is this just a new strategy to try to solve the problem of Afghanistan?
Well, the US and the UK are using a multi-million-pound peace and reintegration fund to buy off low-ranking Taliban fighters so that they can be invested out of poverty rather than going into terrorism. Now, at the risk of winning tonight's Kelvin Mackenzie sound-alike contest, I don't know whether to be more to be sickened.
Is that a compliment?
I think it is. Yeah, probably is.
We'll
wait to the end of the sentence and see whether it is or not. I don't know whether to be sickened by this attempt to buy their way out of trouble, or sickened by the fact that they haven't tried it earlier. And really, even the US Special Representative of Afghanistan, Richard Holbrooke, says that it was a long overdue step. Really, money rather than machine guns often works in situations better. And I'm wondering why it couldn't have been thought of an awful long time ago.
This was a clear strategy in Iraq, wasn't it? In the Sunni Triangle, places like Fallujah, where they began to win over the local warlords with money or persuasion.
Yes.
But it seems to be the only way of getting, because the Taliban pays people, doesn't it, to fight for them.
It's not always ideology. There is economics involved as well. And people's living conditions are pretty dire in enormous parts of the country. And so, frankly, it does seem amazing that this hasn't been thought of as a strategy.
Well, in the Sudan, what happens is that the Muslim majority there take Western aid, and they go then down to Christian villages in the south, and they say to them, if you want some money, you'll become a Muslim. And they say to themselves, well, I tell you what, I wouldn't mind eating tonight. I'll take that 150 dinar or whatever is the currency is there, and it converts on that basis. So bribery and corruption does work. I have my doubts about whether it will work here or whether anything will work here, frankly. And my answer to this, and this is if any of my colleagues around the world are watching now, is actually to do the reverse. We pull out of it, and actually we become insurgents ourselves. And we go in there and we bomb the shit out of them and blow them up in the vile and disgusting way they blow us up. For no actual end game, we just do it to get even with them. Ladies and gentlemen, news at 10 Wednesday. Carry on.
Let's move on that.
When will you be Foreign Secretary, do you think?
Well, I tell you what, I wouldn't do a worse job than Miliband, would I? You can hardly eat a banana without turning it into a photo opportunity. Right,
Daily Telegraph, paternity.
Paternity, Kelvin. I can hardly wait to hear this.
You're not going to like this one.
Right, no, I don't. Look, I don't mind this when we're on the up escalator of the economy.
Right.
All right, when we're all geniuses, we're all billionaires, all our semi-detached houses
but there's a time and a place.
are worth 10 billion. Instead of that, so Harman decides, and it seems to have got some kind of nod here, and I have no idea why the Telegraph would lead on it, to be frank with you, but that fathers would be able to take up to 6 months off on paternity leave while their baby's mother returned to work. The present situation would be that they do the 6 months, and then the father turns up. He gets paid £123 a week for 3 months, and the last 3 months is for nothing. But as correctly the British Chamber of Commerce points out, the new measures are one of 8 extra costs to businesses. Are we or are we not officially completely skint? Even Poland laughs
But
at
fathers
us.
would be eligible for only the statutory government pay. Does the
for-
government pay that, therefore, or the business? There's no cost to business if that's all the father's taking home.
And to be fair, there is
actually,
an indication that only between 4 and 8% of eligible fathers will actually take this up.
and the women may well be earning more, and
of
therefore more tax would be going into the government.
Are we
if the
ganging up on
women
you
earn
now,
more.
Kelvin?
Yes,
This is
I
a
tell you
pincer
what,
attack,
I'm
isn't it,
calling in the
actually?
Taliban to defend me.
The point being, as you said,
We don't need any more government. Why don't they just damn well leave us alone and get on with their lives? And business doesn't need any more help from people who couldn't get jobs. If you looked at that cabinet, Bob Ainsworth, what would he do? Previously, he was a car shop steward, right, in 1982. He could scarcely push a broom. Now he's telling our troops, over the top, lads, I'll supply the helicopters to you. You've got people like Miliband and his brother. They've never had jobs in their lives.
None of them are here to defend themselves.
Are we
so
still,
let's just lay off all
are we
the
still talking
cabinet
about
members.
paternity, Kelvin,
Let's
or not?
move on. Let's
We
move
can
on.
do.
Let's
Carry on.
move on
Next.
because let's talk about something that you're genuinely excited about,
Yeah.
because it'll be a relief to all of us, I think,
Yeah.
which is in the FT,
Yeah.
which is the iPad.
Oh yes, well the iPad. He's showing it there like a new toy, which is frankly how I regard it. I've always thought that technology will never catch on, although frankly I am now surgically attached to my BlackBerry, whether I like it or not, because of course I have to get emails in the middle of the night, because if I'm not, I'm socially inadequate. No doubt Kelvin's got a huge Facebook and LinkedIn following.
I'd be grateful if you didn't talk about my huge Facebook. We're trying to keep it quiet.
Well, quite so. It's very difficult to keep it quiet, as it turns out. But really, I actually see each piece of technology that comes out like this as a truly bad thing. It becomes more and more obsessive as a piece of kit, and stops actual genuine human interaction.
Right, so I want an iPhone, but actually the new one comes out in the summer is the 4G, right? So you don't know when to buy these
Yep,
things
it's always a problem.
because of the price. But isn't it extraordinary that this is a piece of commercial technology, and yet it's on the front page of the Financial Times, the Daily Telegraph. It's on the financial. It's on the front page of the Independent.
Marketing, there's no doubt about it.
But
we've only got a minute left, so can
Okay.
we press on? You've got a
Go
couple
on.
of stories. One is about snails.
Yeah.
Well, we
and
could
the other one about a man's age. So
Well, we can something else to blame the Americans for. American snail invasion could wipe out our oysters. They've been coming into our particular territory of the sea, stopping the oyster industry, which apparently consists of nearly 8 boats in this country now.
is that it?
Yes,
And,
indeed. Used to be 120, but not so
Really?
much anymore.
Oh, dear.
Thanks to the
And
American
if
oyster.
we've got enough time, we can talk about trousers.
Let's talk about trousers.
Trousers quickly, front page of the Telegraph. There are Debenhams have found out that the position of your belt indicates how old you are. So, for instance, if you're a teenager, obviously you're wearing it low slung, and the old buttocks look rather handsome there. By 27, you've now got it back into the middle like that. But 12 years later, your waistband has started to rise, and you then take the belt and put it 2 inches above its natural position, and the bloke who actually signifies that position is Simon Cowell.
There we are.
Right, number of
Gentlemen,
ages.
thank you very much indeed. Kelvin Mackenzie, Graham Davis, thanks very much indeed. Good to have you both with us. More in the Midnight News.